Okay, grade 8s, do me a favor and turn to page 204 in your math book. We are now going to move on to our next section, which is dividing a fraction by a whole number. What I'd like you to do is copy down 6.2 and that title into your notebook. Just press pause while you're doing that, and when you have that done, press play. Okay, so I assume you have the title down now, so if you do me a favor and go down to the bottom, and I want you to copy down the subtitle, which is Explore the Math, page 204, and how can you model the division of a fraction by a whole number. Now what I'd like you to do is just do one question at a time. So if you do question 1, do that one. Press pause first though, and then try the question, and when you finish question 1, A and B, come back and press play and see how you did. Okay, welcome back. So let's start with the first question, 1A. 1A asks us, well, give us some information. This is a long rectangle here, and it represents a hole. So this represents a hole. And the diagram models a division, and they want us to describe it. So let's start. The first diagram here looks to me to represent 1/2. So the first thing I need in my division statement is 1/2. So I'll write down 1/2. And what did they do to 1/2? Well, looks like they did 1/2 that they shaded in there and divided it into 3 equal parts. So I'm going to put that was divided by 3. And that's the division statement they've done. They've taken 1/2, and divided into 3. Notice they also divide the other half into 3 as well, because you can't just divide half of it, you have to divide the whole thing up, but we're mainly focusing on the section that's been shaded to 1/2. But now you notice we have 6 squares in total. Now it says, work with a partner to explore other diagrams you could use to model the division. You could use rectangles, you can use circles, you could use pattern blocks if you wanted to. You could use those red 1/2 pattern blocks you used in the last section. But for the focus of this section, we're mainly going to focus on using rectangles and maybe some number lines as well. So I'd like you to press pause now and work on question number 2. Alright, so question number 2 says, work with a partner or explorer who could use manipulatives to model 2/3 divided by 2. Okay, so let's try number 2. 2/3 divided by 2. I'm going to use pattern blocks to model this one. So I'm going to draw those blue rhombuses as best as I can. I'm not a very good drawer, but I'll do the best that I can. There's 1/3. There's 2/3. And I'm going to divide those up into 2. So I cut them in half. Do that. And then I'm going to do that. Now once I've done that, you'll notice I now have those green triangles. And we know each of those green triangles represents a 1/6. Now, but we don't use all of them. We don't count 1, 2, 3, 4 and say our answer is 4/6. We only count the value of one triangle in each of those thirds. So there's 1/6 here, and there's 1/6 here, because that's the value of each of these. So the answer actually is 2/6, not 4/6. So the answer to the question, 2/3 divided by 2 is 2/6, or in lowest terms, 1/3. Now, I just want to review why it can't be 4. Why can't it be 4/6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Well, it can't be 4/6 because that's actually the same as 2/3. If I take 4/6 and divide those both by 2 in lowest terms, that gives me 2/3. So my answer couldn't possibly be 4/6, because that would be the exact same fraction that I started with in the first place. So to get the value, to get the answer, you need to say to yourself, what's the value of each of these triangles when I divide that third in half? Well, that's a sixth, and there's one more over here. That's a sixth for a total of 2/6. Okay, well, we're not going to bother with question number 3 because you don't really have a partner to work with. So we're just going to focus on the model. Let's look at example number 1 using a model. The question is 1/3 divided by 3. So, sorry, not 1/3, 1/4 divided by 3. So you can see they use what's called a fraction strip to represent 1/4, which is basically just a rectangle divided into 4 sections, and they shaded in one of the 4. Okay. Now the next step they did is, well, they divided each of these quarters into 3 groups. So they kind of put like a line here and a line here, and they ended up getting 3 here, 3 more here, 3 more there, 3 more there. And you can see very obviously there are now 12 little rectangles in total. But we're only going to focus on the 1/4 here. So it says identify the fraction strip that shows 1/4 cut into 3 equal parts, and that's what they've done here in brown. The fraction strip shows that 1/4 is equivalent to 3/12. This is the same as this. Now, what you're going to do is find each of the 3 equal parts, find their value. So each of those is worth 1/12. Each of these quarters, each of these little divisions in here is worth 1/12. So 1/12, so 1/4 divided by, let me just move that up a little bit, 1/4 divided by 3 is equal to 1/12. It's the value of one of these little slivers, not the entire thing. Because remember, if you put down the answers 3/12, like it says here, you're actually just saying 1/4 because those are the same thing. So the answer to the question is the value of one of these slivers, which again is 1/12 and 1/12. Over here they show how you can model the same question using pattern blocks. Now these are a little bit different than the way we used them last time. This time 2 of them represent a whole, one of them is a half. The red one is now worth 1/4, the blue one is 1/6, and the green one is 1/12. So you can see, so this is 1/4, so they took 1/4, they divided it into 3 sections, okay, and then when you do that, one of those 3 sections, as you can see here, is worth 1/12. So that's how I use the pattern blocks. We took 1/4, hold on here. We took 1/4, 1/4, divided into 3, divided into 3 sections. Now the answer isn't going to be 3/12. You don't count all 3 of these. Just notice how they circled this one. This one little triangle is your answer. It's 1/12. Okay, so take a look at the bottom of page 205. I would like you to try the show you know. Start with 3/4 divided by 3, and you can use any model you want. Press pause and try that now. Okay, so I assume you've tried it, trying part A, so let's do that together. So 3/4 divided by 3. Well, I guess I'll do quarters. I'll just draw a fraction strip. Those are pretty easy. So I will draw a fraction strip. And I will divide that fraction strip up into quarters. And I want to remind you that we're just going to focus on the 3/4 right here. And I'll take those 3/4, and it says we need to divide each of those into 3s. Okay, so I'm going to put lines there, lines there, lines there. And I must also do this one over here, even though it's not the part that's shaded in. Okay, so now I'm looking at the value of each sliver in those 3/4. So let me just get a different color so I can see what you're talking about here. Maybe I'll use purple. Okay, so in this first quarter, the value of each of these is 1 out of the total. So there's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this one's worth 1/12. And so is this. That's 2/12. And the last one over here is a total of 3/12. So 3/4 divided by 3 is equal to 3/12. 3/12. Try 5/6 divided by 2, part B. Right there. Alright, so let's try 5/6 divided by 2. Now, let's take a look. Do we have a pattern block that's represented by 6th? Yes. If you take a look up here, we have a blue rhombus, which is worth 1/6. Now we have to take 5 of those and divide them by 2. Okay, so let's try that. Hopefully I can do this neat and tidy. I'm going to scroll up here and do 5/6 divided by 2. So 5/6. So I'll use blue. One, 2, 3. That's a bad one. 4, 5. And now I'm going to cut them in half. Let's cut those in half, like so. Okay, now I have some triangles. Now what were the triangles worth? Let's go back up here for a second. Triangles were worth 12ths, right? They're worth 12ths. So let's go back down. Oh, there we go. So each of these is worth a 12th. And again, the answer is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 12ths, because that's equivalent to 5/6. What I want to know is, what is the value of each triangle in these 5/6? Well, there's 1/6 here, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. Or I should say 5/12. 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12. So the answer to our question here is 5/12. Because this triangle right here is worth 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12. I made the mistake earlier saying 5/6. Of course, that's the actual original problem. So the answer is 5/12. Okay, so I'd like you to turn to page 208, and I want you to complete question 4, 5, 6, and 7.